In the heart of South Dakota, nestled within the ancient and sacred Black Hills, a monumental testament to American history gazes out across the landscape. This is Mount Rushmore. It is a place of immense scale, a sculpture carved not from clay or marble but from the very granite of a mountain. To stand before it is to feel a sense of awe. The four colossal heads, each soaring 60 feet high, seem to emerge organically from the rock, their features weathered by the elements yet defined with remarkable precision. They are silent sentinels, watching over the rolling hills and pine-filled valleys that stretch out for miles below, a landscape that has been witness to eons of natural history and centuries of human story. The first sight of the monument can be a truly breathtaking experience for any visitor. After winding through the scenic roads of the Black Hills, you arrive at a grand avenue lined with the flags of every state and territory. This path, known as the Avenue of Flags, directs your gaze upward toward the mountain. There they are: Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, Lincoln. Their faces capture the changing light of the day, appearing soft and ethereal in the morning mist, then sharp and resolute under the bright afternoon sun. It is more than just a sculpture. It is a pilgrimage site for millions, a classroom for the nation, and a powerful symbol of the ideals, struggles, and enduring spirit of the United States. The mountain itself, before it bore the faces of presidents, was known to the Lakota Sioux as the Six Grandfathers, or Cougar Mountain. It was a place of spiritual significance, a part of a land that was considered the heart of everything that is. The decision to carve this particular mountain transformed it forever, layering a new, distinctly American narrative onto a site that already held deep meaning. Today, visitors from all corners of the globe continue to make the journey to this remote corner of South Dakota. The first face, the one that commands the viewer's immediate attention, belongs to George Washington. He was chosen for the most fundamental of reasons. He was the father of the country. As the commander of the Continental Army and the first president of the United States, Washington represents the very birth of the nation. His presence on the mountain symbolizes the foundation of American democracy, the struggle for independence, and the establishment of the Republic. Sculptor Gutzon Borglum placed him in the most prominent position, signifying his primary role in the nation's story. Next to Washington is Thomas Jefferson, the nation's third president. Jefferson was selected to represent the growth and expansion of the country. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, liberty, self-governance. More than that, he orchestrated the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, a single act that doubled the size of the young country and pushed its boundaries westward, fulfilling a vision of a continental republic. Placing Jefferson on the mountain acknowledges his intellectual contributions and his role as a visionary who looked beyond the original 13 colonies. The fourth figure, positioned to the far right, is Abraham Lincoln. His selection was perhaps the most poignant and essential. Lincoln represents the preservation of the nation. As the 16th president, he guided the country through its most agonizing trial, the Civil War, ensuring it would not be permanently fractured by the conflict over slavery. Borglum sought to capture Lincoln's deep compassion and weary strength, immortalizing the man who saved the Union and gave it a new birth of freedom. Finally, nestled between Jefferson and Lincoln, is the powerful visage of Theodore Roosevelt. Chosen to represent 20th century development, Roosevelt was a force of nature, a progressive reformer who championed the common man and took on corporate monopolies. The idea for a colossal carving in the Black Hills did not originate with a president or a national committee, but with a state historian from South Dakota, Doane Robinson. Seeking to attract tourism in the 1920s, he envisioned a grand monument carved into the Needles. In 1924, Robinson reached out to Gutzon Borglum, then working on Stone Mountain. Borglum, intrigued, surveyed the Black Hills. He dismissed the Needles as too eroded and selected Mount Rushmore, a solid, southeast-facing expanse that captured sunlight throughout the day, a perfect natural canvas. Borglum insisted the monument have national significance. Instead of local heroes, he proposed the faces of 4 presidents, a true shrine to democracy, transforming a regional attraction into a national memorial and unlocking federal support. After lobbying politicians, businessmen, and civic leaders, and overcoming skepticism, the South Dakota legislature authorized the project in 1925. President Calvin Coolidge lent crucial support. On October 1, 1927, Mount Rushmore National Memorial was officially dedicated and the arduous transformation began. John Gutzon de la Motte Borglum was a man as colossal and as complex as the monuments he created. Born in Idaho in 1867 to Danish immigrants, he possessed immense talent and boundless ambition, and a notoriously difficult personality. He craved projects that were grand, epic, and permanent, believing art should be public and patriotic, a tool for telling the story of a nation. At Stone Mountain, he honed large-scale carving techniques but left after a bitter dispute, destroying models and fleeing under a warrant. Robinson's offer presented both redemption and a canvas for his ultimate vision. Borglum took complete control, chief engineer, public face, and uncompromising project manager. He devised a pointing system, a giant protractor-like device, and used 112 plaster models to transfer precise measurements to the mountain. He devoted the last 14 years of his life to Mount Rushmore, summers on site overseeing every blast and carving, winters in Washington lobbying Congress. He died in March 1941, months before the work was declared finished. Mount Rushmore remains his masterpiece. Behind the stoic faces lies one of Mount Rushmore's most fascinating secrets, the Hall of Records. A key part of Borglum's grander vision, it was to be a repository carved deep behind Lincoln's head. It would hold foundational documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, in bronze and glass cabinets, with exhibits of science, art, and industry, preserved for a civilization thousands of years in the future. Work began in 1938. A tunnel over 70 feet long was blasted, but unstable granite and looming war redirected funds to finishing the faces. With Borglum's death in 1941, the Grand Hall was abandoned. The tunnel left a silent, empty chamber. In 1998, a titanium vault was installed at the tunnel's entrance, sealing 16 porcelain enamel panels, the Declaration, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, biographies of the presidents and Borglum, and a history of the United States. Not the grand hall he imagined, but it fulfills his core purpose, to preserve the story for the distant future, a hidden secret within the stone. The construction of Mount Rushmore was a masterpiece of engineering, and a testament to the courage of its workforce. Over 90% was carved using dynamite. Borglum perfected a technique called honeycombing. Workers drilled closely spaced holes, set carefully measured charges, and blasted rock to within inches of the final surface. Suspended in bosun chairs over a 500-foot cliff, held by 3/8-inch steel cables, men with jackhammers shaped the faces while winchmen hand-cranked them up and down, exposed to winds, blistering sun, and freezing cold. Remarkably, over 14 years, not a single worker died as a direct result of an on-site accident, a point of pride for Borglum. Yet many later suffered silicosis from inhaling fine granite dust. Funding was a constant struggle during the Great Depression. Work paused as Borglum lobbied Congress. Geology also intervened. Jefferson's first placement to Washington's right proved unstable. The partially completed face was blasted off, and the composition redesigned to its current form, a major setback overcome by determination. Today, on this day, September 15, 2025, visitors from all corners of the globe come to witness the audacity of the project and to connect with the figures it represents. The air filled with whispered explanations and the collective gasp of those seeing it for the first time. While Mount Rushmore is celebrated by many as a shrine of democracy, it is viewed by others as a profound desecration. Carved into the Black Hills, Pahasapa, a region sacred to the Lakota, considered the center of their universe and a place of origin, prayer, and ceremony for centuries. The 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie granted the Great Sioux Nation ownership of the Black Hills in perpetuity. After gold was discovered, the U.S. broke the treaty, leading to war and forced removal. Before renaming for Charles Rushmore, the mountain was the Six Grandfathers, Thongkasila Sakpe, a site of great spiritual power. Recarving it into presidential faces symbolizes, for many, broken treaties and cultural conquest. In 1980, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the seizure illegal and awarded a financial settlement, which the tribes refused. They continue to demand the return of the Black Hills. 17 miles away, the Crazy Horse Memorial, begun in 1948 under Chief Henry Standing Bear's leadership, stands as a defiant symbol of Native identity and resilience, intended as the largest sculpture in the world. Visitors see a completed masterpiece, but it is not the full realization of Borglum's design. He intended the presidents from the waist up. The scale model shows Washington's coat and hand, Jefferson's arm resting on Washington, Lincoln's lapel and collar, adding narrative depth. After Borglum's death in March 1941, his son Lincoln Borglum led final refinements as war loomed. Congress declared the monument complete on October 31, 1941. Look closely. Lincoln's left ear, Jefferson's collar, less refined than the rest. The unfinished nature reminds us of limits: time, money, mortality, mirroring a nation always striving, never perfectly complete.